So what started out as a conflict between the US, Israel and Iran in West Asia has now spilled far beyond the region, reaching deeper into the Indian Ocean and into South Asia's strategic waters. The escalation started after US torpedoed the vessel sank the Iranian naval frigate just 50 nautical miles off the coast in Sri Lanka. The strike has triggered sharp reactions from Tehran. Iran's foreign minister has warned that Washington has set a dangerous precedent. Arakshi also pointed out that the frigate was, in his words, an official guest of the Indian Navy. He said that Washington will come to bitterly regret the precedent it has set. This is now one of the 3 Iranian vessels that have been struck in the Indian Ocean since the conflict intensified. The frigate had recently participated in the international naval engagements hosted by India. It was part of the International Fleet Review and the Multilateral Naval Exercise, Milan 2026, organized by the Indian Navy in Visakhapatnam. Other Iranian vessel remaining in the South Asian region, the status of that ship is being closely watched amid the escalating tensions. According to reports, around 300 people are stranded on board the ship, which is said to be running low on essential supplies. Iran's embassy in Colombo has made an urgent appeal to Sri Lanka's Ministry of Defense, requesting 24-hour access to a local port so that the vessel can secure food and drinking water. For now, the status of that request remains unclear. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka's foreign minister held a telephonic conversation with Arakshi to discuss the situation in West Asia, also expressing concern and stressing on the importance of diplomacy to restore peace. Meanwhile, another flashpoint is emerging inside Iran itself. At least 150-plus people, including children, have been reportedly killed after a strike hit a girls' school in southern Iran. The school was located near a base linked to the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, a site that has previously been targeted. Iran, in fact, has blamed both the US and Israel for that attack. And the Iranian president has condemned the incident, calling it a barbaric act, another black page in the record of countless crimes committed by the aggressors. In those words, Washington also saying it is looking into the incident.
Can you give us an update on what the administration knows, what you know now about the reported strike on a girls' school in southern Iran on Saturday?
All I can say is that we're investigating that. We, of course, never target civilian targets, but we're taking a look and investigating that.
And while Israel's military has said it is not aware of any operations in the area, the incident has drawn widespread international reaction. The United Nations Culture and Education Agency, UNESCO, has condemned the attack. And as the conflict continues to expand beyond the region, the development in the Indian Ocean and South Asia are now adding a new and complex dimension to this already volatile situation. West Asia sliding deeper into war. What started out as a wave of military strikes last Saturday has now transformed into a widening regional conflict, and the conflict is getting even deadlier. Just a short while back, in fact, Iran said it launched the Khorramshahr-4 ballistic missile with multiple warheads and 1-ton explosive at the airport in Tel Aviv, as well as a squadron base of the Israeli Air Force. Iran also released footage showing the launch of the ballistic missile from an undisclosed location. Israel is yet to issue any statement on the matter. For the 6th consecutive day now, Iran sustained heavy aerial bombardment. Israeli and US fighter jets carrying out repeated strikes across several parts of the country, including the capital, Tehran. Fresh explosions have been reported at multiple locations in the city itself, particularly in its western districts. And visuals from on the ground showing damaged buildings, debris scattered across streets. And just a short while back, the IDF claims to have struck the headquarters of Iran's special forces, bases of the Basish paramilitary force, and other regime sites. That's the latest. And according to the Israeli military, some 90 Israeli Air Force fighter jets participated in those strikes, hitting some 40 targets with around 200 bombs. The U.S. Central Command also released footage showing what it describes as precision strikes on Iranian missile launchers. Israel's military has also released footage from the skies over Tehran. The video shows an Israeli fighter jet shooting down an Iranian aircraft during an aerial dogfight above the Iranian capital, marking the first recorded air-to-air kill of a piloted aircraft by an F-35. In fact, Iran's Red Crescent saying Israeli and U.S. strikes have impacted at least 174 cities across the country. Iranian state media reports also that more than 1,230 people have died during the first 5 days of this conflict. Iran has also launched retaliatory strikes across the region. Missiles and drones have been fired towards several parts of Israel. Air raid sirens sounded across central Israel earlier, and several explosions were heard in Jerusalem shortly after the Israeli defense systems detected missiles launched from Iran. Iran's army has said it had carried out drone strikes in Israel, including on a radar site. At the same time, Iran says it has targeted U.S. military positions in the region. Iran's military announced that naval drone units carried out an attack on the camp in Kuwait using combat drones. The facility, previously known as Camp Oderi, is a major U.S. military base in northwestern Kuwait, in fact. Iran's army also said it had launched a drone attack on the headquarters of the American forces in Erbil, Iraq. The U.S. has not yet confirmed the extent of damage from the reported attacks. And in nearby UAE, falling debris from an intercepted drone injured 6 people in the Emirati capital. This conflict is also spreading along Israel's northern border. Smoke has been seen rising along the Israel-Lebanon frontier. As Israeli forces exchange fire with Hezbollah fighters, Israel has renewed calls, in fact, for civilians to evacuate large areas of southern Lebanon, a region widely considered a Hezbollah stronghold. Shortly before the evacuation order, Israeli tanks, helicopter could be seen on both sides of the border. And yet another flashpoint has now emerged in the Caucasus region. Let's get you up to speed with the latest. Azerbaijan has accused Iran of launching drones that struck the international airport there, located roughly 10 kilometers from the Iranian border. And Azerbaijani officials say one drone hit the terminal building, injuring 4 people, while another landed near a school in a nearby village. Azerbaijan's president accused Iran of quote-unquote terrorism and threatened retaliation. Iran, meanwhile, has denied carrying out any drone attack on Azerbaijan, adding that its army is investigating the matter. And while blaming Israel for the attack, Iran said U.S. and Israeli attacks want to create division among the neighbors.
They are trying to push the countries of the region against another Muslim country in order to create everlasting division.
And as this conflict spreads across several fronts now, the human cost also escalating. At the same time, Iran reporting a rising civilian death toll from the ongoing airstrikes. Reports also indicating increasing casualties among U.S. military personnel in the region. Intensified Israeli attacks have reportedly caused additional deaths in Lebanon. 6 days into the conflict, the war is no longer confined to a single battlefield. From Tehran to Jerusalem, from Lebanon's southern border to Kuwait and Azerbaijan, the fighting continues to expand, raising fears that the region could face an even wider confrontation in the days ahead. As Iran continues to launch the drone swarms and missiles, the US and Israel scrambling to shoot them down. But this is also coming at a huge cost. Reports suggest that the US is fast depleting its stockpile of expensive interceptors, forcing Washington to look for cheaper alternatives. Reports say the Pentagon is in talks to buy Ukrainian-made drone interceptors to counter waves of Iranian attacks. According to the US Central Command, more than 500 missiles and 2,000 drones have reportedly been launched by Tehran since the fighting escalated. So far, the US allies in the Gulf have relied on the American Patriot missile system to counter Iranian strikes. But a typical Iranian kamikaze drone costs only around $30,000 to $40,000. But advanced interceptor systems, like the Patriot air defense missiles, can cost millions. The cost-to-kill ratio is heavily skewed in Iran's favor, forcing America to rethink its strategy. And reports say the Pentagon is now looking at Ukraine, which has been largely successful in defending against the barrage of cheap Russian kamikaze drones. Kiev has been using small interceptor drones, remember, designed to chase and destroy enemy drones at relatively low cost. And these systems cost only a few $1,000s and are fast enough to intercept Shahed drones. Ukraine, for that matter, has also been experimenting with an AI-assisted systems to detect and respond to drone threats. These drone interceptors cost roughly around $35,000. Making them a cheaper alternative to traditional missile interceptors. Ukrainian president has said and confirmed that countries in West Asia, as well as the US, have approached Ukraine to share its expertise and weapons in taking down the cheap Shahed drones. For Ukraine, this also presents an opportunity. If Gulf countries rely less on Patriot missiles, more of the advanced interceptors could be available for Ukraine's own defense against Russian cruise and ballistic missile attacks. So that's significant. And Zelensky echoed the sentiment in a recent interview. Sharing the excerpts of that interview in a post on X, Zelensky wrote that Ukraine is open to a weapons exchange under which Ukraine would share its low-cost interceptor drones in exchange for Patriot missiles.